I know that not all of you are aware of this, but I have to admit to all of you that I goofed up last night and I put up a video that I'd already put up earlier, and some of you hadn't seen it before, so that was good, but some of you were expecting something much different and really, I got to tell you, much better. Anyway, that'll be up at 7:45 tonight. That'll be coming out then, so look for that at that time. And what it goes through is what I think is going to happen on Tuesday. Well, okay, I put on that video everything that could happen on Tuesday, and I mean it sincerely. Everything that I talk about on that video could happen on Tuesday. And if it does, I think we're going to see a radical change in the price of Tesla stock the next day. Now, some of those things may not happen, and some of them may happen differently than I'm suggesting, which could mean a radical change, but it wouldn't be in the right direction. Anyway, check that out. So I think it's one of the better videos I've ever done, 7:45 tonight. All right, FSD is ready to roll. I know I've said that probably before based on other people's experiences. And you've seen other people say it. Larry and other people said, they're driving around on hardware 4 vehicles and they're going like, hey, this car just is like drives like a human. Well, and I just, sitting here with my hardware 3, I'm saying, hey, it's doing really good. And I would report on you that I took a trip down to San Diego or down to downtown LA, both of which are like 120, 180-mile trips, round trip. And it did well. And, no safety interventions, blah, 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 a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh, no, 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 no. I had no idea. I was really in the dark. See, our Wi-Fi doesn't really reach our garage for some reason, or it doesn't always reach the garage. And we hadn't really had the update yet on the hardware. I have a hardware 3. It's a 2021 vehicle. So we have hardware 3, and it hadn't updated. And finally, one day, we got the notice on the phone, oh, it's updated now. So we're like, oh, we got the latest. Okay. So, I mean, this might have been like 2 months ago or something, when maybe it was longer than that. And we hadn't had that update. The car was out, doing fine. Oh no, I drove to West LA the other day. It's Riverside to West LA. It's about 60 miles, a little bit more than 60 miles each way. That's through multiple freeways. It's about an hour and a half drive because of the traffic, even on Saturdays, really bad traffic. And on the streets, on the freeways, multiple interchanges, all the rest. Oh, no, no. It drives like a human now. I mean, it drives like me. It's like, oh no, I see that little spot I can dart into. I mean, it's okay. Maybe I take a few more risks than it did, but no longer going under the speed limit, commonly going over the speed limit on the freeway. Maybe the speed limit's, 65 and it's going 70, 73, depending on the flow of traffic. I mean, it was absolutely human-like in every regard. I was shocked, surprised, amazed. It is really a sea change from what it had been before that update. So I know a bunch of you guys are going, duh, Randy, but I'm going to encourage anybody out there that's not using it. If you've paid for it and you're not using it, no, time to try it. If you haven't paid for it and you're not using it, and you can do the subscription and give it a try, oh, you should do this. You're not going to be unhappy. You're going to be very happy you made the decision. Okay, that's that news. Okay, then we got Investopedia says options pricing suggests that traders expect Tesla to move approximately 9.3% in either direction in the days after the report. A move of that magnitude would put Tesla stock in a range of 263 if it goes up by 9%, or back down to 218 if it after closing on Thursday at 241. So yeah, 9% either way. Well, that's not totally unusual in terms of the projection based on the options, but it is a pretty significant move. Now, I think what you're going to see tonight at 7:45, if you watch it, is you're going to see something that could cause it to go more than that 9.3%, like maybe a lot more. Anyway, the article says Tesla has historically been among the most volatile stocks in the S&P around their earnings releases. Over the past 4 quarters, the stock has averaged 12.3 moves the day after reporting earnings. I think one of those was really a lot more than that. I can't remember the exact. It says the range of post-earnings moves is wide, Shares jumped nearly 22%. There it is, 22% after last October and slumped more than 12% last quarter. All right. Goes on to say investors are heading into this earnings season mired in uncertainty. President Trump has paused most of the tariffs he announced earlier this month, which actually did not benefit Tesla. It was better for Tesla to have those tariffs on the other vehicles, the other competitors. But he announced, but he has left in place massive duties on Chinese goods. And of course, some of those are impacting Tesla vehicles, like potentially batteries, potentially screens, the the screens in the cars. Anyway, and then made conflicting statements about being open to exemptions. Economic data has remained strong, but some economists warn that damage from tariffs is bound to show up eventually, meaning the economy is going to slow down based on this, and that could hurt Tesla's future. According to JP Morgan analysts, the options market is pricing in some of the largest average implied moves around earnings since the first quarter of 2020. For Tesla, sales have fallen across the board, weighed down by consumer backlash to CEO Elon Musk's verbal and financial support of international far-right movements. Analysts and investors, meanwhile, have voiced concern that Musk's work with the White House is distracting him from leading the company. Tesla's access to foreign markets, meanwhile, is at risk and becoming a bargaining chip for other countries negotiating trade deals with Trump. So in particular in China, that could be the case. We haven't heard anything yet that would suggest that that's true, but it could be the case. I've talked about it here previously. Tesla shares nearly doubled in the last month and have, the last month and a half after Trump. Let me read that again. Tesla shares nearly doubled in the month and a half following the Trump's reelection, because of Musk's backing. But they've since tumbled about 50%, putting them back where they were before Election Day. With Tesla's EV sales under pressure, investors will be looking for encouraging updates on artificial intelligence, seen as the next growth driver. That's kind of broad. Musk may confirm this week that Tesla's on track to launch its first commercial robotaxi network in Austin this June. I am 103% certain he will do that. He may also elaborate on the company's plan to develop Optimus, Tesla's humanoid robot, on a commercial scale. I would expect him to at least say that they are making progress, or that they've made a couple of hundred, or something. The more he says about Optimus, the better. All right, this is Randy Kirk. Hit like and subscribe. Definitely hit notify, unless you're going to set a timer. You can tell Siri, that to let you know when 7:45 comes along. That's California time, whatever time that is for you. Brian, you could join Tess. You could join Patreon. That would be very cool. You just go down. It's really easy. You go down. It's right there in the description below. You hit the little link. Takes you over to Patreon. It takes about 2 minutes to sign up. Or you can do something that's even faster. You can go up there to membership, and you could create a membership here on YouTube. Brian 𝐂𝐦𝐚𝐲 interviewed Secretary Bessent last week, and he says that the current market pullback feels about right. Wow. 𝐂𝐦𝐚𝐲, what do you know? That's exactly how I feel. As you guys know, I've been talking about a 10% pullback for a very long time. I think the additional pullback is okay too, given all the uncertainty. I think that's probably reasonable. I wouldn't like to see it go back down. Well, it may though. It may go back and test that 20%, down the 20% off of the S&P all-time high. It could go back and do that depending on the news this week. A lot of interesting news. We'll get to that in a minute. But I would be more inclined to see it go back to this 10% level. And then as the tariff agreements come in, I think we're going to keep going up and up. And at some point, when the China thing is more clear, then we could be back to all-time highs again. All right, that's what I see. He says, that's what I've been telling the CEOs who have reached out following my chat with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. I very much enjoyed my 23-minute chat with the secretary. I learned a lot in a short period, greatly appreciated his time. He's level-headed, deeply understands market history and market plumbing. No kidding. He says, no doubt a byproduct of his decades spent in hedge funding industry with the top hedge fund guys in the world. Of course, you are these are good traits to have as Treasury Secretary if things go to hell in a handbasket. But at the end of the day, I came away thinking the cloud of uncertainty hanging over markets on tariff policy, a key market headwind, should remain in place in the near term. Consequently, any rally in stocks like we saw after the recent electronics tariff exclusions should be treated as short-lived. No, I don't think that's true. He says in the center of this uncertainty cloud is naturally China. The two superpowers seem light years apart in calling for some kind of trade truce. When I asked the secretary if he'd talked to his Chinese counterpart, this is what he replied. Well, we did an introductory call a couple of months ago, he said. We haven't spoken since. I'm not quite sure who from PRC will be here next week in Washington for the International Monetary World Bank Week. So I know that the People's Republic will send somebody from finance, probably the PBOC, the People's Bank of China governor. So they will be there. I may bump into them. We don't have anything scheduled, Bessent said. Wow. The article goes on, bump into them in the hallway. That's where things are at. Not great. Well, there's a lot of talk that there's more going on behind the scenes than anybody's saying. Then there was this response to whether the tariff deals will be inked with up to 130 countries by the time the 90-day pause is ending. He says, let's set aside China. This is Bessent speaking. There are 15 large trading partners. I think that's what I said in the beginning, 7 to 15, 7 really big ones, and then 15 total that really matter. I think that's what I've been saying all along. I think you can look back and you'll find that's out. We set aside China. There are only 14. And we're in the rapid motion in setting up a process for those 14 others, most of whom have very large deficits. So in 30 days, we're going to have a complete doc, a formal legal document done and dusted. Oh, so are you going to have a complete legal document done and dusted? Bessent said, nope, not likely. However, he did note that a framework should be worked in within that period. As all this plays out, the administration is still clamping down on relations with China. See this week's AI chip restriction news. And then NVIDIA will be forced to take $5 billion charge. Of course, that killed the market last week. It's a tough pill for investors to stomach. It underscores the degree of policy risk that still isn't priced into markets. I think it's all priced in. On the heels, I really do. I really think the bad news is priced in. On the heels of this interview, I'll be talking to a large number of CEOs over the next 2 weeks, some right after their earnings calls, some before, and others over a drink. I'm curious what you want to know about these power brokers, he says. I, for one, am keen to understand how executives plan to price their products and service in the era of tariffs. It could have major ramifications for consumer demand and Fed policy. Well, everybody will do that very, very carefully. They will be negotiating with their suppliers. They'll be even negotiating with the countries of those suppliers. They will be trying to figure out how much they can absorb of those increases, and they'll be trying to figure out how much the consumer was willing to take. So, it's one thing to take an extra 10% on bananas. It's another thing to walk into a toy store and pay an extra, $2 on a $20 toy. So, everything is different. Everything will be handled differently. I've been there so many times in my lifetime, and you figure it out. You just figure out where you think things are going to, and then sometimes you're going to say, hey, not going to carry that product anymore. It's not going to sell at that price. He says, I'm also looking to see how committed they are to current staffing levels in this uncertain environment. If a company is forced to pay a big tariff at the same time as consumers are pulling back, he says, I believe there's going to be some fat coming off the expense line, and that usually comes by the way of canning workers. And that hasn't happened yet since, there's been none, zero. hardly any layoffs announced by anybody yet. And so at some point that's going to happen. It should happen. I'm sorry, it just has to happen from time to time. But they've been afraid to lay off because they don't see a big pool of available workers ready to be able to hire if they need to hire them back. So they've been afraid to fire, and as a result, I think what's happened probably is a lot of people that would have been let go in any other environment, maybe have gotten trained. Maybe they've been able to move them around in the company and find the right places for them when they haven't been very good employees. So I don't know. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks. Okay, what's happening this week? Well, Monday, you've got the U.S. leading economic indicators, which, as I tell you every month, nobody pays any attention to anymore. They might pay more attention this month, but I doubt it. It just doesn't seem to matter to anybody anymore. The voting here says that they think it's going to go down 0.5% after going down 0.3% last month, and I think it's been down or negative like 18 of the last 20 months. Or I mean, it's been down, 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 down. The economy's been up, up, up because you know why? Yeah, because the government's been propping it up. Okay, then on Wednesday, we have the S&P Flash U.S. Services PMI. That's always interesting. Last month, it was at 54.4. They're thinking it'll be at 53. That would be lower, but not bad. Not bad at all. Manufacturing PMI last month was 50.2. They're thinking that's going to come at 49.3. Now, that would be a little thin. That'd be a little upsetting to have it be quite that low, but it's not scary, but it's, it would be not good. And then new home sales, interestingly, they think it's going to be up from 676,000 to 680,000. That, in this, what I've been hearing anecdotally, is that the real estate market is very soft right now, but they're saying they think that, well, it's not very many up, but a little bit up. Anyway, that's interesting. A bunch, by the way. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. On Wednesday, also, the Fed Beige Book. Now, that is something people pay attention to, even though I feel like the content in the Beige Book commonly is not very good and kind of old, kind of stale, but we will definitely report on it. That'll be at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, California time, so I'll report on that till Thursday morning. Thursday, we've got the initial jobless claims. Guess what? It's around 220. 220,000. Last week was 215,000. Week before it was 223. The week before that it was 225. I mean, it's like 220 every week. So if that's true, that would be one more indication that all this stuff is not impacting, at least not jobs, at least not yet. Then that same morning, we've got durable goods orders coming in. That's an important one. That's one that I like to watch. But after up there, it says manufacturing is going to be down. Here it's saying durable goods orders are going to be up, and substantially. Last month they were up 0.6%. They're saying they're going to be up 1.4%. All right, well, durable goods don't usually go up when manufacturing is going down. Core durable orders would be coming in. They're not going to make a guess on core durable orders. That's like taking away airplanes and stuff. Taking away, I think, all transportation maybe. And last month it was down 0.3. Existing home sales. What was the other one? What was the one we just looked at? We just looked at, new home sales. Okay, so new home sales up a little bit. What about existing home sales? Here they're thinking that existing home sales will be down from 426 last month. I'm sorry, 4.26 million per year to 4.10 million per year on an annualized basis. Okay, that's what they think is going to happen. All right. And then on Friday, the only thing we got is consumer sentiment coming in with their final numbers. All right. And then major reporting companies this week. It is a big week for companies reporting. So in addition to Tesla, you've got Alphabet coming in later this week. You have got Chipotle coming in, Boeing, and Verizon are some. There's quite a few more that are coming in this week as well, but those are the major ones according to CNBC. All right, so we take a look at where stocks are now in the pre-market going into next week. I was going to check to see, do we have? Yes, no, we don't. Okay, so I wanted to look at the bonds. I guess the bonds will come out for another till 5 o'clock on Sunday. All right, so let's start with the equities. We've got that's last Friday. I'm all confused here. We will start with equity. Here we go. Pre-market. Dow Jones down 186 or 0.47%. S&P down 22 or 0.42, 0.41%. NASDAQ down 66 or 0.37. So very much in line with one another, all three up down around 0.4%. You've got Bitcoin flat, up 108 for the whole day, 85,207, been very flat for very many days. You got the dollar mixed. You've got gold up again, 33.63, could be an all-time high, very close to an all-time high, up 35. People are talking about it both ways. I read a couple of articles. People are saying, yeah, it could go up, could go down. Not helpful. Okay, silver, 32.47, getting close, moving. It's unchanged right now for the day, but it is moving back up towards that 35 roughly. Copper down 90 cents at $4.69, right kind of in the middle of its range. And oil down 82 on Texas Intermediate to 63.86. That's a good sign. I like to see that. I did check on gasoline, and gasoline, wholesale gasoline is down kind of in the middle of where it's been for the last like 6 months, since just before Trump was elected, and it dropped off a cliff like that when it was pretty clear that Trump was going to be elected. Natural gas down 2.16% at $3.17, getting very, very close to $3 for natural gas. And again, bonds not in yet, so we don't have that information. And also, of course, Tesla doesn't start trading on Robinhood until 5 o'clock. If you want to know what Tesla's doing tonight, if you want to get a little head start on what it's going to be tomorrow, you can always look up. I don't get any money from talking about this. Robinhood's not paying me, but you can look it up on Robinhood. Okay, let's see. Reminder, 7:45. Don't miss it. Last night, I put up the wrong thing. I will put up something really, really good for you to take a look at. This morning, I did do an Easter thing, I put up 20 proofs that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and he died on the cross, and put up 20 proofs. We're not talking about, like, I think so, or, this is what the Bible says. What we're talking about is using science, using the science that's used for historicity, the science that's used for things like anthropology. There are 20 proofs. There are 20 really good proofs. And if that's interesting to you, if you're kind of on the fence about Jesus, well, you could come. In fact, I'll put that card up. You can go take a look at that from this morning. If you're like, I'm not sure if Jesus really yeah. If you're not sure, that might be a good thing to do. Or maybe you just like to get in a big argument with me about it. That's okay too. I love debate. And I love debating people that have a very different opinion than I do. So you can go take a look at those 20 and then hit me up on a couple and say, hey, Randy, what about this? What about that? I'm good for it. I'll take you on. And for those of you who trust Jesus already and just are really excited to be part of the kingdom of God, maybe these 20 will be interesting to you, just as a little bit of additional information to know and to be, part of your understanding of who it is that you follow. All right. What else? Yeah. Notify tonight, 7:45. Yeah. Patreon, all that stuff. Okay. It's been great talking to you.